Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Scherr, conductor of the Washington Wind Symphony. I'm here with Ray Heraty, and we're working on a new composition he wrote called Four Somatic Scenes.
Thanks, I'm thrilled that you guys are playing it.
Ray, we just finished a rehearsal of your new piece. How do you think it went?
Yeah, very good. It's so exciting to hear it come to life. You know, you hear it on paper, and of course technology now, we can hear decent mock-ups, but to have real players playing, it's really exciting.
And we're about halfway through the rehearsal process now. Could you tell us a little bit about your piece and what we're going to be hearing in the performance?
Yeah, so it's a piece I wrote specifically for you guys, for the Washington Wind Symphony. During COVID, during lockdown, I completed a master's in orchestration, and I kind of always wanted to write music, but was kind of probably too afraid to do it. In fact, once upon a time, I did a transcription of an Irish piece for a wind band that I was playing in, and we read through it, and it was a disaster, and it was terrible, and I was kind of embarrassed and ashamed, and so that put an end to any efforts to put music in front of live players for a long time. But I did the degree during COVID and got some nice feedback from tutors and stuff like that, and that gave me the confidence to ask you if you would consider playing something with the band that I wrote.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It's so fun to have a composer in the room with us and giving us feedback on the music and hearing it come together. And for the first time anyone's ever heard this piece, it starts out with action.
Right.
And there's these kind of cinematic inspirations. Could you maybe talk a bit about where that kind of came from?
Yeah, well, I've always loved film music. I mean, growing up, obviously, you know, John Williams was the soundtrack to my childhood, and so that's always been kind of my primary love. And then I enjoy all kinds of classical music as well. But what I've always wanted to write is sort of what I heard growing up as a kid. You know, the movie music with lots of melody, because melody's kind of fallen out of favor currently.
Yeah.
With current movie, I just watched Dune 2. You know, I don't think there's a melody in it. I'm not even sure. You know, because movie music now is bordering on sound design rather than melodic music. But I still like the melody. So my music, I think, is fairly melodically driven, and maybe harkens back to that. I might call it old-fashioned, but it's the type of music that I wanted to write. So as I was going through it, I just picked a kind of a style or a genre for each movement, and then tried to produce music that was in that style. So like you said, the first movement is action, so it starts out kind of high-paced. Maybe it's a car chase or something like that, and then there's a hero motif that comes in, but then it goes kind of a completely different direction. Maybe it's like a romantic interlude during the action. But really, I don't want to plant too many seeds in anybody's head, because the whole idea is that it's up to you to see the movie as you're listening to the music. So that was sort of the idea behind it. There's a style or a genre. Action, love story that turns a little dark, maybe fantasy, adventure, and then kind of a superhero type theme at the end. But hopefully each person listening to it will create their own movie in their mind.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the melody, because when we're rehearsing, I see the ensemble playing, and when we get to these melodies, they're so lush and thick and beautiful. You can tell that's something that they've been craving, you know, because again, there is a lot of music out there which is very kind of angular, and we get to kind of have these long art strokes of melody throughout the piece.
Right. Yeah, and I think, you know, hopefully the movie music will come back that direction as well. I mean, I feel like, you know, in the early days of movie music, it was super melody driven, and then it stepped kind of away from that for a little while when things became kind of electronic and stuff, and, you know, early electronic experimentation in the 70s and stuff, but then very firmly came back in the 80s and 90s to melody driven, and now it's kind of moved away again.
And the piece itself lends itself very well to the wind band. This is your first wind band piece, is that right, for full wind band?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's a multi-premiere.
Yeah.
It's a world premiere of this new piece by Ray, but also your first opus one of wind music.
Yeah, I suppose so, but keep in mind I've been playing in wind bands for nearly 40 years, so you figure that some of it's got to rub off, right? You know, because you sit there and you listen to how other composers and arrangers and transcribers did it and what instrument combinations they used, and you know, you pick out stuff that you like and kind of replicate that.
As we put together this program based on music from a whole generation of composers, how do you feel you want the audience to come away from hearing the differences between different wind band music?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, when I wrote this piece, I was thinking primarily of the players, because I figured that if the players enjoyed playing it, then they would communicate that through the music, and then the audience would enjoy hearing it, because at the end of the day the audience gets one shot to hear it at the concert, but the players are hearing it for, you know, the 8 weeks of our rehearsal cycle. And so I'm hoping that the players love it and that will communicate itself through the music to the audience, and of course I hope the audience likes it as well. It's a little intimidating to be on the program with such big names as Aaron Copland and even Omar Thomas, big up-and-coming composer who's super popular right now and writing incredible stuff. So I just hope that people go away maybe remembering my music and able to hum one or two of the tunes.
And I always come back to a conversation that you and I had. I think we sasaw a Marine Band concert together.
That's right, yeah.
And we were talking about just the eclectic combination of music we heard. Holst Hammersmith.
Right. Yes, that's right.
And then after that was South Pacific.
Yes, yeah, you got a good memory, yeah.
And so I think that's something that kind of lends itself so wonderfully to wind band, is that you can have such a wide range of music that can take us so many different places and yet kind of fit together.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, okay, you're missing the timbre of the strings, but there's still so much variety in the remaining instruments, and particularly in kind of an expanded wind band where you have sort of the wind instruments that are a little bit less common, that you don't see in an orchestra, that, you know, a skillful wind band can do any type of music and produce almost any type of sound that fits the music that they're trying to perform.
Great. Well, we're really looking forward to premiering your piece, and I can't wait to get it on the program and out for everyone to see on May 25th at 2 p.m. at the Robertson Performing Arts Center in Redmond.
That's right.
Thanks, everyone.